Hello and welcome to this video tutorial on the SMT admin functions. We are going to have a look at the stock parameters. In this video, we are going to first review some of these concepts related to the SMT stock parameters. We are going to learn how to customize the values per supply chain level, and we are going to learn how to customize the values per vaccine. So let's just start with the basic concepts. In the SMT, the stock parameters refer to the information necessary for the platform to calculate the minimum and maximum stock levels of vaccines that should be maintained at each vaccine store. So the data that needs to be entered in the SMT is first the supply interval, so that means how often vaccines are received at each supply chain level. We need to enter our safety stock, so how much stock should be kept in reserve to prevent stockouts, and we need to determine our lead times as well, so how long it takes to receive vaccines after a request. All these values are expressed in number of weeks, and the reference data is entered per supply chain level, but it can be customized for specific stores. For the national level, the data can also be customized for specific vaccines through the program data. So this is what I'm going to show you now. I'm going to log into the SMT. And I need to select country admin. I click apply. Now I'm logged in as the country admin for my country. So I'm going to go to store data. Under store data, we have different tabs. The last one is stock levels and lead times. This is our stock parameters. It's very important that this information is completed, because otherwise the platform will not be able to calculate your minimum and maximum stock reference values, so your reports are not going to show correctly, and also the stock alerts are not going to show correctly. So here we can see that we can select the different years. So I'm going to select 2024, for example. And for this year, there is some values that have already been entered. So what we have is, on the top, we have a table with our supply chain levels that have been entered here on the store hierarchy. In my case, I have 3 levels: national, regional, and district. For each level, we have the supply interval, the safety stock, and the lead times. For the national and the regional, you can see here there is some values already entered, so I'm going to enter the values for the district. I click the edit button and I start entering my values. So what is the supply interval? That means how often do we receive vaccines at the district. Let's say that is once a month, so I'm going to put 4 weeks. How much stock do we want to keep as safety stock at all times? So let's imagine, for example, that we want to keep 2 weeks of stock. And what is our lead time? So how long it takes for us to receive vaccines from our regional store once we send a request. So let's imagine that this is 1 week. I have my values. So now I click save. And these values get applied for the district. Below, we can see that we have a grid with our store hierarchy. So automatically the values that I have entered here get applied to all the districts. So I have 3 district stores, and you can see these values of supply interval 4 weeks, safety stock 2 weeks, and lead time 1 week has already been applied. The second thing that we can do here, if we want, is we could customize those values for specific stores. So if the values apply across the store hierarchy to all the districts, we don't need to do anything else. But if there is a specific location, for example, in which we want to keep a safety stock that is a little bit higher, maybe it's a very remote location that is difficult to reach at certain times of the year, so just in case we want to keep a safety stock of, let's say, 4 weeks instead of 2, so I can just click here edit, and I can edit the values only for that store. So for my district store North 2, I have changed the value, and then I click save. So the data has been correctly saved. So now the process is finished. So basically I have entered my values for the national, the region, and the district on the top grid. This applies across the whole hierarchy, and then I can manually edit specific stores using here the action button. As you can see, the values are customized per supply chain level and per store, but they are not specific per vaccine. So at the national level specifically, we know that the supply intervals, for example, might not be the same for all vaccines. So it's possible that some vaccines we procure them every 12 weeks, while some others we procure them every 24 weeks, every 8 weeks. So to be able to edit those values per vaccine, we do that through a different screen, a different functionality, which is the program data. So I'm going to leave the store data and I'm going to move to my program data. In the program data, this is the screen where we need to enter the details of our immunization program. There's a separate video tutorial on how to enter the program data, so I'm not going to explain the details now, but what I just want to explain is how to change those reference values. So here in my program data as routine vaccinations, I have one vaccine that I have entered, which is BCG. So I'm going to click here on the edit to see the details of my BCG. So I have the details of the vaccination, and at the end there's 3 fields: there's supply interval, safety stock, and lead time. These values at the moment, they are blank. So if I leave these values blank, basically the SMT will use the reference values that we have just entered through our store data. If we want to override those values specifically for BCG, then we enter the specific values for that vaccine here through this screen. So let's say that our supply interval for BCG in particular is going to be, for example, 24 weeks. Our safety stock for the national level, we want to keep 10 weeks, and the lead time for this vaccine is 3 weeks. So I click update, and automatically the values that I enter here specifically for BCG will override the values that I have entered through my store data. So just as a quick recap, we enter the generic values in this grid that apply to all vaccines and all stores. If we want to customize per specific store, we come to the hierarchy and we use here the edit buttons. And if we want to customize per specific vaccine, we go to the program data and we use the edit button here. So this is all when it comes to stock reference values in the SMT. We hope this video tutorial has been useful for you. Thank you.